The old concrete walls of Clearwater State Correctional Facility had seen it all in their 60 years standing. Rain pattered against the narrow windows as Marcus Reeves, inmate 45873, ran his fingers along a hairline crack in his cell wall. 3 months into his 5-year sentence for armed robbery, and already the walls were closing in. "You're wasting your time with that wall, Reeves," Officer Daniel said during his evening rounds. "Cell 217 has been inspected 100 times since the riots." Marcus nodded respectfully but continued exploring once Daniels moved on. The infamous Clearwater riots of 2021 were prison legend now. 3 dead, dozens injured, and 1 inmate who'd vanished without a trace, David Harmon. The crack widened slightly under Marcus's persistent fingers. The concrete seemed different here, hollow somehow. As lightning flashed outside, Marcus worked at the loose section of wall. A piece finally gave way, revealing a small cavity. "What the hell?" Marcus whispered, reaching inside. His fingers touched paper. Carefully, he extracted a plastic bag containing several envelopes yellowed with age. The top envelope had neat handwriting. "To whoever finds this, I was here." Marcus's heart raced as he pulled out the letter inside, dated May 17th, 2021. 3 days before the riot. "My name is David Harmon," it began. "By the time you read this, I'll either be free or dead. Most likely, they'll say I died in the riot. But the truth is something else entirely." The lights flickered as another crack of thunder shook the building. Marcus quickly hid the letters under his mattress as Officer Daniels passed by again. Tonight, in the quiet hours, he would begin to unravel the mystery of the man who'd occupied this cell before him, the prisoner who'd vanished during the chaos of that bloody day. David Harmon hadn't planned on spending 15 years in Clearwater for a crime he didn't commit. The letters told his story in painful detail. "I was a math teacher with a spotless record," one letter read. "Then my brother Tommy got mixed up with the wrong people. When they found those drugs in my car, I knew Tommy had used my vehicle without permission. But I couldn't turn him in. Our mother was dying, and he was all she had left." Marcus studied the prison ID photo that had fallen from between the pages. A thin man with intelligent eyes and a quiet dignity about him. In the prison yard the next day, Marcus approached Walter Jenkins, a lifer who'd been at Clearwater for 25 years. "You remember a guy named Harmon? David Harmon?" Jenkins squinted in the bright sunlight. "Quiet guy, smart, always reading or writing. Why you asking?" "Just curious. Heard he disappeared during the riots." Jenkins lowered his voice. "Everyone has a theory. Some say he got killed in the chaos and his body was never identified. Others think he somehow slipped out. All I know is one day he was here, next day gone." Marcus pressed further. "What was he like?" "Decent man. Kept to himself. Had this way of watching everything, noticing details nobody else saw. Worked in the library and maintenance. Had access to places most inmates didn't." That night Marcus continued reading the letters. "I've been mapping this place for 3 years," David had written. "Every pipe, every vent, every blind spot in the camera system. I've made friends with the right people, not the violent ones, but the ones who know how things work. The electricians, the maintenance crews. I've been patient, and now I have a plan." The third letter contained detailed diagrams of Clearwater's electrical and security systems. "The beauty of patience," David had written, "is that no one suspects a man who served 10 quiet years. I've earned privileges. Trust even. I fix things. I'm the inmate who helps Officer Benson with the circuit breakers when they blow. I'm the one who knows which cameras tend to freeze when there's a power surge." Marcus studied the meticulously drawn maps. David had spent years creating a perfect storm of circumstances, waiting for the right moment. There's going to be a riot. One entry predicted with eerie accuracy. "The tensions between the East and West blocks have been building for months. Garcia and Tompkins hate each other, and their crews are just waiting for an excuse. I've been carefully nudging things along, a whispered word here, a misplaced message there. Nothing direct, nothing traceable." Marcus felt a chill. This wasn't random opportunism. David had orchestrated the chaos. The next morning, Marcus approached Dr. Lillian Chen, the prison psychologist, during his weekly session. "Do you remember the riots, Dr. Chen?" he asked carefully. Her expression tightened. "I wasn't here that day, thankfully, but I helped counsel many inmates afterward. The trauma was significant." "What about David Harmon? Did you know him?" Dr. Chen hesitated. "Patient confidentiality prevents me from discussing specific inmates, Marcus. But he's gone, presumably dead." She organized papers on her desk. "David was different, remarkably calm given his circumstances. He maintained his innocence until the end." "Do you think he died in the riot?" Dr. Chen met his eyes. "They never found a body. In my professional opinion, David Harmon was smart enough to create opportunities others couldn't see." That night, Marcus read David's detailed plan. The riot was just cover. During the chaos, he would trigger a power surge in the East Wing, temporarily disabling specific cameras and electronic doors. With maintenance access, he could reach the unfinished utility tunnel that connected to the old drainage system. Timing was everything. A 20-minute window during shift change, amplified by the disorder of the riot. "I've been preparing physically," David wrote. "Running in place in my cell at night, limiting my food to lose weight. I'll need to fit through spaces designed for pipes, not people." The final entry before the riot read, "Tomorrow. Whether I live or die, at least I tried. Better to die attempting to reclaim your freedom than to live accepting its theft." The fourth letter described the day of the riot in vivid detail. May 20th, 2021. "Morning count complete. I've hidden my essentials. 273 saved from prison jobs. A guard's identification card I duplicated while working in administration. Civilian. Clothes stolen piece by piece from the laundry. All vacuum sealed and hidden in the maintenance shaft behind the library." Marcus could almost see it happening as he read. The riot started in the cafeteria at 11:42 a.m. Garcia's man Diaz threw the first punch at Tompkins's lieutenant. Within seconds, the cafeteria erupted. Guards rushed in with riot gear as inmates, scattered, some fighting, some running for cover. David moved against the flow, not toward the violence but away from it, using the distraction. He slipped into the library, which had been evacuated. From there, he accessed the maintenance corridor, using the key he'd secretly duplicated months before. "The sirens are deafening," David wrote. "I can hear the chaos, but I'm already invisible. I've timed Officer Rivera's bathroom break for months. 3 minutes, clockwork, always at the same time. The camera in this corridor has been malfunctioning every Tuesday for weeks. Minor glitches I've been called to unsuccessfully repair." Marcus took the letters to the library the next day. The elderly civilian librarian, Mrs. Winters, had worked at Clearwater for over 30 years. "Excuse me, ma'am," Marcus asked quietly. "Where was the old maintenance access point, the one before the renovations?" She peered at him over her glasses. "Behind that shelf, but it was sealed up after the riots." She lowered her voice. "That's how he did it, you know." Marcus feigned ignorance. "Who?" "Harmon. Clever man. They never wanted to admit it. But I knew. I saw him that day, heading into the library when everyone else was running out. I didn't report it." She smiled slightly. "Some people deserve a second chance." According to the letters, David had timed everything perfectly. While the riot raged, he changed into civilian clothes, triggered his prepared electrical surge, and moved through the maintenance tunnels to the drainage system. The outdated blueprints he'd studied in the prison archives showed a connection to the storm drainage that ran under the east parking lot. "The tunnel is smaller than I expected," he wrote in what appeared to be a hasty addition. "Water up to my knees. I can barely breathe in this space. If I get stuck here, no one will find me for days." The last entry from that day simply read, "Daylight ahead. God help me." The final letter was different, dated nearly a year after the riot, written on different paper with a different pen. "To whoever finds these letters, I'm alive. Free. I won't say where. The authorities believe I died in the riot, one of the unidentified. bodies damaged beyond recognition in the fire that broke out in the East Wing. In truth, that was Jenkins's friend Cooper, who died of a heart attack during the chaos. I placed my ID bracelet on his wrist before I left. The fire did the rest. I don't regret my escape, but I do regret the violence that day. 3 men died who shouldn't have. I never wanted that. I only wanted justice. The justice the courts denied me. 2 months after I left Clearwater, my brother, Tommy, was arrested for drug trafficking. On his deathbed, liver failure, the drugs he sold destroyed him too, he confessed to planting the evidence in my car. Too late for legal appeals, but at least I know the truth was eventually told. I've started over with a new identity in a place where no one knows me. I teach math to adults seeking their GEDs. I help people. Every day I try to balance the scales for the wrong done to me and the chaos I caused. If you're reading this, you're probably serving time just like I was. I don't know your story, whether you're guilty or innocent, violent or peaceful, but I know this. There's always a choice about who you become, even inside those walls. I've hidden these letters because someday I want the truth to be known. Not to glorify what I did, but to testify that even in the darkest places, hope persists. Justice may fail, but humanity doesn't have to. D.H. Marcus sat on his bunk, the letters spread around him. After a week of discreet inquiries, he'd pieced together the rest of the story. The official record showed David Harmon as deceased, presumed, killed during the Clearwater riots of 2021. Case closed, but there was more. Marcus had found an old newspaper article about a small-town math teacher in Oregon who'd started a program helping former inmates get their high school equivalency degrees. The grainy photo showed a man with a beard and glasses, but the eyes were unmistakable. The article mentioned he'd started the program in late 2022, a year after the Clearwater riot. Marcus carefully returned the letters to their plastic bag and hid them back in the wall cavity, resealing it with toothpaste mixed with dust to match the wall color. These weren't his secrets to expose. That night he wrote a letter of his own to add to the collection. David, I found your letters. I understand now. Your secret is safe with me. What you did took courage, not just escaping, but building something meaningful afterward. I have 3 more years in this place. When I get out, I have a young daughter waiting for me. You've shown me there can be life after this place if I choose it. Thank you for the map. Not the one of the prison, but the one showing the way back. To humanity. Marcus Reeves, January 2025. Marcus sealed his letter and placed it with the others. Somewhere out there, a man who'd once been David Harmon was teaching others how to calculate probabilities and solve for unknowns. Some might call him a fugitive. Others might call him free. In cell 217 at Clearwater State Correctional Facility, Marcus Reeves opened his worn paperback and began to read, a small smile on his face. For the first time since arriving, the walls didn't feel quite so close.